All right, bruh fans, here we go with season 2, episode 10, The Long Journey. This was not the mid-season finale to my knowledge because, well, we had a new episode, but like I said, there's only 9 more left. What, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, 9 more episodes left, so I don't know if they'll take that break or if they'll just keep running them. We'll find out eventually. But no cutaways this week for 2 reasons. Number one, this was more of a serious episode, so I feel like, appropriate just to keep to the standard review method. I really do have some solid talking points. Even though I had about 4 cutaway ideas, I want to just keep it simple. And number 2, it's like 92 degrees, and I'm trying to get these videos as soon as possible. Because I got to cut my fan off so I don't have background noise. So, sorry if you're expecting cutaways. I apologize, but you'll get a solid review. What's wrong with that? So, before moving forward, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. First off, I was surprised that this episode was long. I mean, the title is The Long Journey. I should have put 2 and 2 together. So, I mean, if this was the mid-season finale, I'm like, well, that's good because we had a lengthy episode which kind of mirrored the first, handful episodes of the season that were 25 minutes or longer. But I still got to, unfortunately, give this episode about a 4 out of 10. It was definitely some setup, but at the same time, there were certain things. And remember, guys, I'm only seeing these episodes one at a time. So I understand that if certain things that to me didn't feel right in episode 10 might make sense because it will all come together by episode 13. Just putting it out there. But I feel like the main talking points definitely lean towards Tom's storyline. Yes, they actually give Tom something to do this season so far, aside from getting the bros back together. And Bill's story. So just to put that out there, I would say that those 2 characters were probably the MVPs of the episode. Shout out to when Regina smacked Mike, and I'm just like, is that a thing? Is that the running gag this season? Every episode, Mike experiences some physical pain to his head, whether it be a set of keys, a punch to the jaw, a slap to the cheek. Not saying some of those things aren't deserved, but when he hit his head upside the door when he was knocked out by John. But in any case, also the flower child, Natalie. We got to see her again. All right. So the episode starts off with Mike and Regina picking up where he left off, where Mike suggests sex in order to get back at Bill. And hey, I won't tell if you won't. And Regina shuts that down pretty much instantly. And I could tell by the end of the last episode, she wasn't feeling Mike like that. And apparently, Mike is still in denial of the fact that even when Regina says Pam and Bill did not have sex. And he's like, what if I got proof? And I'm thinking to myself, Mike is probably just saying what he thinks he needs to say in order to bang Regina, and that's it. And this is the part that had me going, okay, I know this little Negro is lying. He says that, damn it, I had a good cutaway there, but I don't have time to edit. It would have been great. Okay, so he says he was having Pam followed by a private investigator. And then he goes on to say, so are you down to fuck or what? And Regina slaps his ass and then says, I'm leaving. And I'm thinking, what? Don't worry, I got private eye thoughts I want to talk about later in the episode. So Bill, again, props to Bill working, because we never seen him work before. And I'm talking outside of the bedroom. Bill's working, Tom and John knock. He doesn't want to have anything to do with him because he's not going to see Mike. I'm working. But then again, continuity, they still have their key. And I think that's a lot better than someone leaving their door open randomly. So they come in and they joke about the fact that, hey, you know what? I saw the video of Mike hitting John, and then Tom tells John to knock out Bill. I mean, hey, you know what? Everybody has something wrong with him. So, John, why don't you knock out Bill and we'll drag him over there to see Mike? And then John kind of squares up and Bill stands up and is like, oh, you want to use your height? Okay, fine. I see how it is. But essentially, this scene was all about Tom and John convincing Bill to go over to see Mike. Yeah, Mike punched John, but John's going to see him because we need to get the bros back together. Because truth be told, the women are kicking their asses. And the funny thing is, they're kicking each other's. From John hitting Mike and Mike hitting John. Yeah. And Bill's just hitting it with whatever woman comes to his apartment. So essentially from there, they just leave because you know what? It's like, fine, I see how it is. So Bill says, I'm done with Mike's little ass. So they leave to go talk to him. And I mean, I think Bill, once again, with the one-liners, yeah, you go talk to that toxic little nigga because I won't have anything to do with him. Give me your keys back. No, I'm going to keep you. We your buzz, man. We're going to keep the keys. Again, great continuity because in the last episode, he asked Regina for the key back. He's like, look, I left your key on your nightstand. Okay, fine. So continuity-wise, John and Tom still have a key. So if those two so happen to just stroll into Bill's apartment, I'm not just going to say it's because the door was unlocked. It's because they have a key. I feel like that's a running gag I keep tabs on in these shows. Not just bruh, like if Loving You is wrong and whatnot, all those shows have those moments where a person just walks in the door and it's like, they shouldn't do that. Okay. So as soon as they leave, he gets on the phone to call Natalie to come over and he's like, please. And I'm thinking, Bill, what? First of all, I was like, Bill, this is just messed up. First, I mean, Regina comes over, just leaves you hard and just leaves because she got her feel because she was horny. And then the next day you go over to the yoga class to see Natalie. And now you get pretty much schooled by the three mean girls. And now you call Natalie to come over. So I'm like, man, if he's expecting sex, no. Flower Child will not spread her pollen. Again, I had a great cutaway from Family Guy. But oh well. We go over to Mike's place and Regina came back. I'm like, okay, how long was she gone? And apparently Pam keeps calling her. And Regina's like, you know what? I want proof. And he's like, look, I'm waiting on my PI to send the pictures via email. And Regina's like, you know what? There's something wrong with you. You know, guys, you all got to make everything hard just by being a guy. So pretty much she kind of lays into guys. And, you know, Mike's like, hey, I'm not going to let you talk like that about men and talk about me like that under my own roof. He's like, you get off with that bull crap. And it's funny because she kind of gets up to leave, but then comes back again. And I'm thinking, you know, is she going to stay? Is she going to go? Will she stay or will she go? So she goes on to say, okay, I see how it is with this lawyer talk. You know what? You good? What, you think you all good, but you cocky? You know, I'm a good and cocky lawyer. I'll tell you how it is. So they also have like a funny moment where they talk about Miss Alice. The fact that, well, yeah, I know it was funny when I saw that video of John knocking your ass out. But then I saw the one of you knocking him out when Miss Alice posted. Like, yeah, she funny and freaky. Well, don't let her hear you say freaky, yeah, because she's something else. So we go over to Tom and John. They're on their way to Mike's house, and Alice keeps calling John, who doesn't want to answer. And Tom's like, you know what? You should cherish your time, you know, you have with her. Or if you don't want to answer, at least put it on mute. But then John accidentally answers it. And, you know, we get the typical black mother thing where it's like, don't answer your phone with an attitude. Instead of, you know, just telling you what you called for, you spend 10 minutes talking about how you don't want somebody to answer the phone. But, you know, we got to get the vulgarness of getting tampons and other lube and other sexual items that John doesn't want to get. And they stop at a store. And Tom's asking, it's like, I mean, is she still on period and whatnot? I mean, a woman her age, that's kind of rare. I don't care, Tom. I don't want to talk about this with you. So when they stop at the store, he borrows the money from Tom to go in there to get the stuff. And he gets a call. Tom gets a call from his Aunt Deirdre. And it turns out something happened with his mom. And, you know, he just says, well, hey, the reason it hasn't come is, you know, I've been going through a lot of stuff. I'm thinking, yeah, you almost lost a job because last season Valerie, who I miss my baby Valerie, accused him of sexual harassment. And then he's trying to keep his bros together. But, yeah, he didn't go see his mom. And and apparently there's some bad news from the doctor. And he's like, look, I'll be there tomorrow. I don't care if I can't catch a flight, I will drive all night. So he's like, he hangs up the phone. And I feel like, come on, John, fuck! And he drives off, and I'm like, what the hell, man? You're just gonna leave John with feminine products at the store? I felt bad for John. I'm like, cause I'm thinking, you know, at first, you know, Tom said, you know, John, I was like, hey, just drop me off right here. Cause I'm thinking, oh yeah, it must be like on the side of the road. So when Tom was like, there was a car in front of him, he's like, oh yeah, so he must be pulling into a parking space. But no, he just up and left John at the store. Heaven forbid there wasn't enough money. Alright, so then we go over to Natalie coming over to see Bill. And apparently he wanted company. But no, this is a therapy session. It's like, okay, I'll bill you later. And I'm like, aha! I see what you did there. So shit gets real. It's like, hey, tell me about your mom. And then we get some character history. Apparently Bill's mother left when he was a kid. He was raised by his grandmother. He gets emotional because he feels like he wasn't shit. He had abandonment issues. The only time he really saw his mom was at kindergarten and college graduation. They don't really talk. Doesn't even know where his dad is. And then, Natalie's like, yo, can you be my therapist? Trust me, I'm not Bill wanting sexual favors. This is some real good stuff. She says, the thing about it is we all go through these journeys. We all have these experiences that are painful, but we open up. It's like, that's sometimes why men, when they look for women, they find people that remind them of their mother. Like, women, they go after men that remind them of their fathers. But it's going to be a long journey. It's going to be painful. But if you want to, we can go on it. He agrees. And, they touch back on the mother. And I'm like, yo, this is some... I mean, again, I had a Marvin Gaye clip that would have been perfect. Sexual healing, but he got something else instead. Okay. So Greg comes into the apartment, and I thought that he was supposed to meet with Officer Grills for dinner. Like, wasn't she supposed to come over to the apartment that night? I don't know. But Greg asked Tom, who is coming out of the back, with some bags, and, it's like, hey, are you okay? And we learned what happened. Apparently, Tom's mother's kidneys are failing her. And, he's been spending so much time trying to get the guys together that he's been neglecting his mother, who needed him even more. So Greg, volunteers like, hey, whatever you need, man, you need to go. Tom says, hey, can you contact the hospital, talk with Linda, and just tell her that family emergency. I'll contact her tomorrow to let her know what's going on. And Greg's like, hey man, I'll see if I can even fill in for you at the hospital. I don't know if he has his license yet. I know that he told Officer Grills that he had to apply for one in the state of Georgia, but either way, he is just like Tom in terms of being a doctor. And Tom is like, yeah, talk to Linda, and just she loves hiring young black men doctors. Just be careful. I'm thinking to myself, must be a nod to when she was saying, what do I have to do to get with you? I mean, to sleep with you. So he also asked to watch the bros. It's like, hey, there's some good dudes. They need each other. And Greg's like, hey, I'll do the best I can. And I'm thinking, man, this is like if Andy had to leave and then told Fatima to keep the group together on Sisters. That probably wouldn't happen. But John leaves and Greg's like, oh man, this is crazy. Oh yeah, he also says to go down to the store to pick up John because I left him there. Tom, did you not call John to let him know? Yeah, that's right. John can't call Uber because he ain't got no money. Hopefully somebody can cash app him. So, any case, we go over to the final scene. Mike and Regina, the email came in, the car that looks like Bill's, because Mike is like, hey look, the PI said Bill's car, he dropped off Pam. He didn't see him go in, but the car is parked there all night. So he assumed that they had sex. And, the email came in, and then she's like, look, fool, don't look at the pictures. Look at the email. The license plates numbers don't match. And it was all a plan by Regina to get Bill to grow up. And Mike rightfully says, like, you're talking about how men make everything harder and men need to mature and men don't grow up, yet you're playing these games by him kissing another woman. Well, I just want to make sure he knows what he wants to instead of, being indecisive and sleeping with other women and stuff. Trust me, I will get to that in a second. But Mike actually apologizes for the way he acts, says that, hey, you're actually a good catch, you're a good woman. They pretty much are cool with each other. And, when she actually goes to leave, Bill walks in, is like, no. Don't let me interrupt. And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, I mean, I'm guessing that the therapy session went well, and Bill probably went to Mike's to make peace about the whole situation. But then he walks in and sees Mike and Regina, so he's probably thinking something's up, just like Bill simply told Mike about Pam, and he thought the worst. And then, of course, Mike goes to Tom's apartment, and then Pam comes out in a robe and then tries to feel on Tom, and stuff hits the fan. So overall, this was a decent episode in a way. It's just sad that when Tom finally gets a storyline for the season, it's something as traumatic as his mother potentially dying, and I'm like, oh. But it's kind of like, when he was telling John to cherish his time with his mother, it's kind of like that's a nice thing to say, but not everybody has the same experience with their parents. Like, well, one person says to cherish time with your parents, it's probably because they had sometimes more of a close relationship as opposed to an estranged one. And I feel like that was kind of a running theme through the episode, where I feel like aside from Mike, we kind of got an inner look into the parental relationships of each of the bros. Like, you know, Tom and his mom being sick, I feel like we learned more about his mom in season 1 towards the end, when he was dealing with that patient with the abusive cop husband. And apparently, you know, he witnessed how his mom dealt with domestic violence. And of course, you know, John just can't catch a break with, you know, his mom. And then Bill, we learned that he was pretty much raised by his grandmother. So yeah, there's that aspect of it. Number 2, when the hell did Mike get a private investigator to follow Pam? I'm just trying to feel. I literally thought he was making all this up just to get Regina to stay, possibly wind her up to have sex. But if a private investigator was following Pam the night that she came over to his place drunk and Bill offered to take her home, that to me makes no sense at all, continuity wise. And you all know how I am in terms of being a stickler for continuity. I mean, that reminded me of Veronica having David followed in season 1 of The Haves and the Have-Nots, or how Jasmine hired Leslie to follow Gary in season 1 of Sisters. I miss Leslie. And I'm just baffled by the whole thing. I mean, what? I don't get it. Like I said, there are certain things in this episode that made zero sense, but they might come to light in a future episode. And it's like Mike, of all people, having the audacity to have Pam followed. It's like, you're the one who said you're done with her, yet, I mean, this is literally you hiring a PI to follow her around. You're essentially just paying for physical social media stalking, for a lack of a better phrase. That's honestly what I got from this. And kind of to round things out, you know, in regards to the Bill and Natalie scene, it's just scenes like this that show me, well, it kind of reinforces what I say about a lot of these Tyler Perry shows, or just a lot of drama or television series in general. Relationships don't fix everything. I mean, it just seems like, you know, the characters who are quick to jump from one bed or one couch or, you know, one back seat of a car to another to get their sexual fill, they're only filling in a void that can't be filled in by sex. I mean, I feel like this episode wasn't preaching the importance of mental health and therapy, but it just felt like a very strong message of the importance of it, how going on these journeys will help us reach a destination that we would have never gotten by ignoring our trauma. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, the way that Bill doesn't seem to be fully committed to one person and being indecisive, it's probably because he's afraid of something actually working out. You know, the fact he wants to sow his oats, so to speak, probably comes from the fact his mom just walked out on him, the same way he's able to kind of just walk away from one woman after another. Yet when one of those women, Regina, is actually doing better for herself, it's like, no, I want you. So I do feel bad. It's like, in a semi kind of way, I'm rooting for Bill and Natalie, but at the same time, it's like, Bill, you ruined Regina's engagement / wedding. So part of me doesn't even want you and her to end up together. But at the same time, it's like, what? Bill needs to go on this journey first, and then we'll see what happens when he gets to the other side. You know, like Regina said, these men need to make up their minds. But at the same time, I got to call out Regina because, you know, I can't cheer for the women to call out the men for their BS and game playing when they do the same stuff in kind of a different way. But those are my overall thoughts on this week's Bruh. You know, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if it's cool, the temperatures, you might get your cutaways. But until then, you're going to get your standard reviews. So let's talk about it in the comment section below. Like I said, I'll keep my eyes on social media. If I hear any news about a mid-season finale, I will let you know. And if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App. And with that being said, I'll talk to you in the next video.